fucking joke. You clearly don't care about the truth here. You just prefer to enjoy your fucking fantasy.
Holy crap, dude. All I wanted was a hall pass. Let's talk some ancient history and archaeology, and more specifically, Flint Dibble. Now, this is a topic that usually captivates us at some point in our lives. And for me, literally growing up in the middle of cornfields, it was ancient Egypt. There was one thing about it, though, that always kind of got me. The Sphinx never really seemed to match the pyramids. Remember that Sesame Street song? One of these things is not like the others. One of these doesn't belong. Okay, I'm so sorry you had to hear that. I couldn't do it any other way but to sing it. I just couldn't. So, anyways, later on, went to college, took a history class. Of course, we're going to talk about ancient Egypt. And I asked my professor about this thing that had been nagging me for so long. His reply was, quote, "Don't ask stupid questions, read more books," unquote. And that's when I started sitting with the conspiracy theory kids. Now, fast forward to present time, I watched that Joe Rogan, Graham Hancock, Flint Dibble debate, and I know in terms of the internet, the debate itself is ancient history, but I'm 49. Okay. I'm 49.99 plus shipping, handling, and taxes. So, you know what? I think I'm pretty timely talking about this now. So, let's talk about Flint Dibble. Now, Flint is smart. I'm not going to deny that in any way, shape, or form. Also, not going to touch on physical appearance. Honestly, I think if you are an archaeologist, 100% your out in public slash evening wear should be something Indiana Jones esque. And if you're out in the field, it should be something that looks kind of like Dr. Grant. Also, not going to touch on the whole cancer subject or anything health related. I mean, I had a stroke. I look like a goblin. I have a lisp now. You're never going to see me. So let's just get into what really matters. Imagine you're just a regular person. You watched a documentary on the pyramids and thought, hey, maybe history has more mysteries than we think. So you hop online, you look around a while, maybe you even ask, could it be possible that ancient civilizations had technology that we just don't understand yet? And you too may be lucky enough to get a response from Flint Dibble. Rest assured, it will go something like this. Sure. And maybe your toaster is secretly a time machine. Next question, idiot. And well, I mean, that's the problem. It seems like his marketing strategy for ancient history is archaeology, but let's make it mean girls. Instead of saying, hey, here's why the evidence points in a different direction, he'll come back with something like, wow, congratulations. You've just invented the dumbest idea since flat Earth TikTok. It can feel like getting shoved back into the conspiracy corner where the only people who will listen to you are, well, the crowd who thinks that the Great Wall of China was just an ancient slip and slide. And by the way, if it was a slip and slide, mortgaging my house for a yearly pass. Just saying. But suddenly, the curious among us doesn't feel educated or wanting to find knowledge. We just feel roasted. And as a layperson, I'd love more knowledge on ancient history. I even watch those quote unquote mainstream archaeologists. But you know where I don't go for knowledge? A douche canoe. That's that's where I don't go. Now, to be fair, a lot of people they do absolutely love his takedowns. They see him as kind of this academic superhero who finally punches back at the wild conspiracy theories. But basically, he's the Gordon Ramsay of archaeology. Only instead of yelling about overcooked scallops, he's yelling about Atlantis and Joe Rogan. And Graham versus Flint is Mortal Kombat Choose Your Character. This is really a choose your fighter scenario. On one hand, you have Graham Hancock, a very well spoken man with theories on lost civilizations. On the other hand, you have Flint Dibble, armed with academia, sarcasm, and, well, pure rage tweets. And honestly, that gets tiring pretty quick. And it lends absolutely nothing to a truly interesting discussion of what we know versus what we could possibly find out. And when you're Flint, branded as the attack dog, people stop seeing you as a teacher or communicator. They see you as defender of the ivory tower, protector of all academia with snarls and snark, which means real dialogue, the kind where people, I don't know, might actually learn something, just gets lost. Instead of converting pseudoarchaeology fans, Dibble often makes them dig in deeper with his "you're not qualified" tone, proving the conspiracy crowd's point. This is the perfect example.
Everybody had got things wrong, that Jacques Cinq Mars had been ruined by the Clovis First lobby, but he'd been right all along.
Now, has Graham Hancock beat this story to death, buried it, held a public service, dug it back up, and beat it all over again? Yep. But he doesn't need more than that, because every time he does, people just attack him, which reaffirms the establishment bully elitist thought. Picture this: someone says, "I think Atlantis might have existed." But before they can even finish their sentence, Dibble is already sprinting across Twitter. He's got a 20-part thread yelling, "Wrong, evidence, citations, you're destroyed, who's next?" So at a certain point, it feels less like public education and more like a professional wrestling match. You've got Flint the Excavator Dibble versus Graham Atlantis' real Hancock in a no evidence cage match. And these sort of behaviors leads directly to the whole gatekeeping thing. It's as if Dibble basically stands at the gates of history with a clipboard saying, "Sorry, you're not on the list. No PhD, no entry." Now, to be fair, Dibble is an actual archaeologist. He's trained, published, and he knows his stuff. But it's the way he presents himself. He comes off as, if you don't have letters after your name, you're not allowed to talk about the past, which is, let's face it, not exactly the most welcoming vibe for curious people, independent researchers, or say communities whose ancestors actually lived in that area. Here's the thing: history doesn't just belong to scholars. Indigenous voices, local traditions, even amateur historians all have perspectives that matter. But when Dibble swoops in with an academic sledgehammer, it can really feel like he's saying, "Shh, only experts get to talk now." And that kind of attitude just creates tension. Instead of bridging the gap between academia and the public, it makes it feel like the Grand Canyon. And here's the irony: Dibble spends a lot of time online trying to fight pseudo archaeology, but his gatekeeping mentality just shuts people out. And guess where they go? Right to Graham Hancock and the other guys who say academia is hiding the truth. And frankly, honestly, they aren't always wrong on that point. Personally, I'd rather face a Roman Senate debate than hear another word from him.